Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I am an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for Friday, August 14th promise an emotionally charged chapter for Steffy Forrester Finnegan and Carter Walton, as both find themselves struggling to pick up the pieces after their relationships have dramatically fallen apart. Two people who normally seem to stand on completely different paths may suddenly discover that they have something painful in common because both Steffy and Carter are facing the kind of heartbreak that leaves a person searching for somewhere to turn. Steffy is still reeling from the shocking discovery that John Finnegan secretly flew to Monaco with Sheila Carter without telling her, and the betrayal has cut far deeper than she expected. What made the situation even worse was Finn's decision to defend Sheila, at least to some degree, during their confrontation on the beach, leaving Steffy feeling as though the man she trusted was choosing his mother over his marriage. Her anger and disappointment finally reached a breaking point, and in one unforgettable soap opera moment, Steffy ripped off her wedding ring and shoved it toward Finn, making it clear that she was finished with him. Now, while Finn is left in a state of panic over the possibility that he has truly lost Steffy, she is already making her way back to Los Angeles, drowning her heartbreak in drinks as she takes the first commercial flight home. The journey back to LA is not simply a change of location for Steffy. Emotionally, it represents the beginning of a completely different chapter, one filled with anger, loneliness, and uncertainty about what comes next. She has spent so much time fighting to protect her marriage and her family, yet now she is returning home with the painful realization that the foundation she believed was secure may have completely collapsed. And waiting in Los Angeles is another person who understands exactly what it feels like to watch a relationship fall apart. Although Carter's heartbreak has unfolded under very different circumstances. His marriage to Daphne Rose Walton has reached its own devastating crossroads after Daphne announced that she is leaving for Paris, a decision driven by a diagnosis that has broken her heart beyond repair. That means Steffy may soon come home hoping simply to escape her own pain, only to find Carter sitting with an entirely different version of the same emotional devastation. The circumstances surrounding Carter and Daphne are heartbreaking because Daphne's decision to leave for Paris has left Carter desperately wanting to find some way to reach her. Her diagnosis has changed everything, and rather than allowing Carter to stand beside her, Daphne is pushing him away as she prepares to leave. Carter is struggling to understand how he can help the woman he loves when she seems determined to create distance between them, and that helplessness is likely to weigh heavily on him throughout Friday's episode. The spoilers reveal that Carter will make a promise as he continues to reel from the news of Daphne's decision, suggesting that even though she is trying to shut him out, he is not ready to simply surrender. Carter will hope that somehow he can help Daphne move forward, but at the same time, he will worry because her emotional walls continue to rise around her. His pain is quiet compared with Steffy's explosive anger, but underneath that calm exterior is a man desperately searching for a way to hold on to someone who may already be preparing to leave. That is exactly where Steffy's path could begin to intersect with Carter's. When Steffy returns to Los Angeles, she may stop by Forrester Creations and unexpectedly run into Carter, creating the perfect opportunity for two wounded hearts to finally open up to one another. At first, their encounter could seem innocent enough, with Steffy struggling to process everything that happened with Finn and Carter still consumed by Daphne's decision to leave for Paris. But once they begin talking, they may realize that neither one needs to explain what heartbreak feels like because they are both living through it at the same time. Steffy could offer Carter the understanding he desperately needs as he wrestles with Daphne pushing him away, while Carter could give Steffy a safe place to unload all the anger and hurt surrounding Finn and Sheila. In a city where secrets and betrayals constantly tear people apart, this unexpected connection could become one of the few places where either of them feels genuinely understood. Still, there is another factor that could make this encounter far more dangerous than simple emotional support. Steffy has already been throwing back drinks as she tries to numb the pain of what happened with Finn, and there is a possibility that Carter could soon find himself reaching for a few drinks of his own as the reality of Daphne's departure becomes harder to bear. Two devastated people, both vulnerable and emotionally exhausted, could find themselves together at precisely the wrong or perhaps most tempting moment. Their sadness could lower the defenses they normally keep firmly in place, allowing emotions that might otherwise remain hidden to rise to the surface. What begins as mutual comfort could suddenly take on an entirely different intensity as Steffy and Carter realize how much they are leaning on each other. With both of them hurting and neither one thinking completely clearly, the possibility of sparks flying becomes impossible to ignore. And that is where the situation could become a major romantic twist. Could Steffy and Carter, both drowning their sorrows, cross a line neither expected to approach? Their shared pain could create an emotional intimacy that quickly turns into something more, especially if alcohol removes the restraint that might normally stop them from acting on a sudden attraction. A kiss could happen in the heat of the moment, transforming an innocent conversation between two wounded friends into something neither can easily take back. And the spoilers leave open the possibility that their connection could go even further with a full-blown passionate encounter potentially waiting around the corner. If that happens, the consequences could be enormous because Steffy would have to face what this means for her already shattered relationship with Finn, while Carter would have to confront the emotional fallout of becoming involved with someone else while Daphne is still very much part of his heart. For now, though, neither Steffy nor Carter may fully understand where this road is leading. Steffy is returning to Los Angeles carrying anger, betrayal, and the fresh wound left by Finn's decision to travel to Monaco with Sheila and defend her during their beach confrontation. Carter is struggling with the devastating possibility that Daphne may truly leave for Paris, even as he promises to find some way to help her move forward and worries that she is pushing him away. Their stories are broken in completely different ways, yet those differences may be exactly what make their unexpected connection so compelling. One is running from a marriage that has collapsed under the weight of betrayal, while the other is desperately trying to hold on to a relationship threatened by circumstances he cannot control. As they find comfort in each other, the emotional lines between friendship, consolation, attraction, and temptation could become dangerously blurred. The Bold and the Beautiful is clearly setting the stage for Steffy and Carter to share some significant scenes, and Friday's episode could be the beginning of something neither of them sees coming. Their encounter at Forrester Creations may give them the chance to finally speak openly about the pain they have been carrying. But once alcohol and raw emotion enter the equation, that conversation could take a much more unpredictable turn. Carter may comfort Steffy over everything that happened with Finn and Sheila, while Steffy could become the person who helps Carter survive the crushing emotional blow of Daphne's decision to leave. Yet sometimes the person who understands your pain most deeply can also become the person who awakens feelings you never expected to have. With two broken hearts searching for comfort, one vulnerable night could be enough to ignite a new romance and create an entirely new storm in Los Angeles. Whatever happens next, Carter and Steffi clearly have major moments ahead, and their shared heartbreak may be only the beginning of a shocking new chapter. But the real danger begins once Steffi and Carter realize that their meeting may be more than a simple coincidence. Both of them are arriving at this moment carrying emotional wounds that have not even begun to heal, and neither one is prepared for how easily the other might slip past those defenses. Steffi has spent so much time believing that Finn would always stand beside her, only to discover that his connection to Sheila was still strong enough to create a devastating fracture between them. Carter, meanwhile, is facing the heartbreaking reality that Daphne may leave for Paris, and no promise he makes can guarantee that she will change her mind. As these two broken people begin to confide in each other, their conversations could become increasingly personal, with each revealing fears and frustrations they might not normally share. What starts as sympathy could slowly become emotional dependence, and that is when their situation could become truly explosive. Steffi may try to convince herself that she is simply looking for someone who understands what she is going through, especially after the humiliation and anger surrounding Finn's secret trip with Sheila. She may still be furious that Finn went to Monaco without telling her, but beneath that fury is a deeper sense of rejection that could leave her questioning everything she thought she knew about her husband. Carter could recognize that pain immediately because he is experiencing his own form of rejection through Daphne's decision to leave him behind. Even though their circumstances are completely different, both understand what it feels like to watch someone they love create distance when all they want is another chance to make things right. That shared understanding could make their bond feel strangely comforting, almost as if they have found refuge in one another during the darkest moments of their lives. And once Steffi realizes she can talk to Carter without being judged, she may find herself returning to him again and again. Carter's own struggle could become even more intense as he tries to honor the promise he makes regarding Daphne. He wants to believe that he can somehow help her move forward despite the diagnosis that has shattered her world. But Daphne continues to push him away, leaving him caught between hope and helplessness. Carter may tell himself that giving her space is the right thing to do, yet every moment of distance could feel like another step toward losing her completely. The emotional pressure could eventually become too much, particularly if Steffi appears at Forrester Creations at exactly the moment he needs someone to understand. Instead of pretending that everything is fine, Carter may finally allow himself to admit how deeply Daphne's decision is affecting him. Steffi, still carrying her own heartbreak, could listen without judgment and offer the kind of emotional support that Carter desperately needs. That moment of vulnerability could also give Steffi permission to finally let her own emotions spill out. She may reveal just how deeply Finn's actions have wounded her, explaining that it was not simply the trip to Monaco that broke her trust, but the fact that he kept the truth from her and then defended Sheila when Steffi needed him to understand why she was hurt. The memory of removing her wedding ring and shoving it toward Finn could still be fresh in her mind, replaying over and over as she wonders whether she made the right decision. Carter could remind her that she has every right to feel betrayed, especially after everything she has endured because of Sheila. In return, Steffi could reassure Carter that his feelings for Daphne are real and that wanting to help her does not make him weak. For a brief moment, both could feel as though someone has finally given them permission to stop being strong. And then the drinks could change everything. Steffi has already been using alcohol to escape the pain. And if Carter joins her in that emotional haze, the atmosphere between them could quickly shift from comforting to intimate. Their conversation may become softer, their defenses may begin to disappear, and the sadness that brought them together could create a strange sense of closeness neither expected. They could laugh briefly through their tears, reminisce about better times, or simply sit together in silence while realizing that they are no longer alone. But beneath that sadness, something else could begin to stir, something that neither Steffi nor Carter may be willing to acknowledge while they are sober and thinking clearly. One lingering look could suddenly carry far more meaning than it should. And one moment of physical closeness could make it impossible to pretend that there is nothing happening between them. The possibility of a kiss would therefore become increasingly difficult to ignore. Steffi may initially pull back, remembering everything she has just been through with Finn, while Carter could hesitate because Daphne remains in his heart despite her decision to leave. Yet heartbreak has a way of making people reach for comfort wherever they can find it, and both may be desperate enough to seek warmth from the one person standing beside them. If they cross that line even briefly, the emotional consequences could be enormous. A kiss between Steffi and Carter would not simply be a romantic moment. It would represent two people making a choice while their lives are still tangled in the relationships they have not fully let go of. And if that kiss becomes something more passionate, they could wake up the next day facing questions, guilt, confusion, and consequences that neither of them anticipated. Meanwhile, Finn could still be desperately trying to understand how quickly his marriage has fallen apart. Steffi's decision to remove her ring was not an empty gesture, and the fact that she immediately left for Los Angeles could make Finn realize that she may truly be finished this time. His panic could intensify as he wonders whether there is anything he can do to repair the damage, especially after his decision to defend Sheila during their confrontation. The more he thinks about Steffi's reaction, the more he may understand that this was not merely another argument between husband and wife. He has pushed Steffi to a point where she no longer feels safe trusting him, and that realization could leave him desperate to find a way back into her life. Yet, while Finn struggles to hold on to Steffi, she may already be forming a connection with someone else. That possibility could make the situation even more complicated because Carter is not simply a stranger Steffi meets during a vulnerable moment. He is someone she already knows, someone who understands the world she comes from, and someone who is experiencing his own devastating loss. Their shared environment at Forrester Creations could make it nearly impossible to avoid one another after this encounter, meaning that whatever happens between them could continue to affect their lives long after the night ends. If a kiss occurs, both may try to convince themselves that it was only the alcohol and emotional exhaustion talking. But the harder they try to dismiss it, the more difficult it may become to ignore the feelings that were already beginning to develop underneath the surface. And Daphne's situation could make Carter's emotional conflict even more painful. He may still love her deeply and genuinely want to help her, which means any attraction to Steffi could fill him with guilt almost immediately. Steffi would face her own version of that conflict because even though she has declared herself finished with Finn, the emotional connection between them does not disappear simply because she removed her wedding ring. She may be angry enough to believe she has moved on, but seeing Carter could force her to confront how vulnerable she truly is. In that vulnerable state, Carter could become both her comfort and her temptation, creating a dangerous emotional situation that neither of them knows how to control. What makes the story so compelling is that neither Steffy nor Carter is entering this situation with the intention of betraying anyone. They are simply two hurting people searching for a moment of relief. But in Genoa city-style soap fashion, relief rarely comes without consequences, and this new connection could create another emotional storm before anyone has had time to recover from the first one. Steffi may have returned to Los Angeles expecting to lick her wounds and figure out what to do about Finn, while Carter may have believed his greatest challenge was finding a way to reach Daphne before she leaves for Paris. Instead, their paths could collide at precisely the moment when both are emotionally exposed. If their mutual support turns romantic, the consequences could spread far beyond the two of them, especially if Finn discovers what happened or if Daphne learns that Carter found comfort in Steffi while she was preparing to leave. One secret kiss could become a devastating revelation, and one passionate encounter could permanently change the relationships surrounding all four characters. For now, the biggest question is whether Steffi and Carter will recognize the danger before they cross the line. They have every reason to keep their distance, yet their heartbreak may be exactly what keeps pulling them closer. Steffi needs someone who understands the betrayal she feels after Finn's choices, while Carter needs someone who can see past his attempts to remain strong as Daphne prepares to walk away. Their emotional wounds may bring them together, but what happens after those wounds begin to heal could determine whether this is simply a temporary moment of comfort or the beginning of a powerful new romance. With Steffi back in Los Angeles, Finn in panic mode, Carter struggling with Daphne's departure, and alcohol lowering the barriers between two vulnerable hearts, the stage is set for a confrontation that could change everything. The Bold and the Beautiful is clearly preparing something much bigger between Steffi and Carter, and if they give in to the chemistry building between them, the aftermath could be every bit as explosive as the heartbreak that brought them together.